So I'm going to go over again what we're actually doing with the playback. So here's the GameCube. I don't actually need this plugged in right now. I'll just unplug it for demonstration purposes. We got Pokemon Yellow, actual cartridge, SD card, reader, and an action replay disc. The action replay disc is a quick way to boot into Swiss, which is on the SD card reader, so that we have a very, very quick setup to get into Homebrew. From there, we boot GBI. Now what that does is it allows us to control the Game Boy Player much more thoroughly than the original Game Boy Player disc does, and it has some better video quality playback than the Game Boy Player's official disc. From there you go over here, you'll see the Eon GCHD adapter. That's a special tool I have to do native HDMI output from the GameCube. And that in combination with GBI really makes the video quality a tier better than you can get with just the native Game Boy Player. So that solution is all there in concert. That stuff lets us do the TAS playback in really, really high quality video. Almost to the point of looking like an emulator. Not quite though, because of some issues with the color that are being worked on for a new version of an HDMI adapter that Badass Consoles has been working on. Now from here in Swiss, like I was saying, so we've tricked the GameCube into loading Homebrew with the action replay disc. Now I can load whatever I want from there. I'm going to choose to load the Game Boy interface speedrun playback version that I've built here, which is loading it with this CLI. The CLI is what tells us to use these input files for playback. So it has an input file on the SD card configured from this CLI, command line interface file, that tells it what inputs to send to the Game Boy Player at what time. And the time is stamped by a number of CPU cycles since the Game Boy Player has been reset. So what ends up happening is I press the A button here to get into playing back the game, and Game Boy interface, instead of doing what it normally does where it takes controller inputs and sends those over the high-speed port to the Game Boy Player, it sends the fake controller inputs from the input log, and it times them based on knowing when the hard reset was done on the GameCube, in combination with the GameCube's audio controller, because it doesn't actually have a way of knowing how much time has passed from the Game Boy Player. The CPU of the Game Boy Player isn't exposed over the high-speed port. The only thing that really exists over the high-speed port is the video data and the controller data passing back and forth. Alright, so I'm going to hit A here, and that's going to start the TAS playback. And I'm going to do that at the same time that I press the button to start the timer. A little bit too much time there, actually, it looks like, because of the way that Swiss loads. But that's only like a few seconds. It's not a serious problem. I think I can make the game a bit louder. Now, we choose Ash as a default name because the character name doesn't come up often enough in the run for the character count to be more valuable than the time we would spend in the naming box. And then we have to name the rival SXS, or actually it's XSX, where X is the multiplication symbol, and that's for memory manipulation for the underflow that we're going to do later. Now we have to play through the beginning of the game pretty normally here. The only thing that you would really see different from a normal speedrun so far, apart from the character names, is that we set our options in-game, and we did that because the options menu takes longer to open from the title screen than it does from opening and closing the start menu in-game. The side effect of that is also we can do fast options in-game to set our options optimally. Because fast options still works from the in-game menu. So, ideally in the rework we're going to do here, we're going to manipulate a specific Pikachu DV, but for now we're just getting a Pikachu that has 18 HP, because 18 HP Pikachu is a little bit easier to work with for these crit setups on Eevee. So we're going to Gen 1 miss Growl to have Pikachu's turn be quick, and then get Tackle Crit from Eevee. Gen 1 miss Growl, Tackle Crit again, and we lose in 2 turns very quickly. So whereas a normal speed run would be, in the best case scenario, leaving at around the 256 mark, not considering the boot up screen, we're leaving at 302 with the entire boot up included. So we're effectively like 10 seconds ahead of a human runner through that intro. And now we're just continuing to get that insane luck. Oh, also we added like 2 extra seconds because I started a tad early. So we're almost like 12 seconds ahead of a human run. Sometimes a human run will get no encounters to this point, so that's not too insane. But the really human non-viable thing that we do in TAS here is on the way back to the lab, we have a YOLO grass we can do. So we're going through the grass here, all the way back, and re-entering Oak's house at 4:05. So this would be a 3:50 Oak's house in RTA. That's how fast that is. Hey Maria, and hey Weed. Welcome to the stream. We are just going back over my own VOD creation here for the prototype NSC TAS. And then I'm going to do a little bit of work searching for Pikachu to manip. Because we need to manip Pikachu DVs. Alright, so we're leaving Oak's house again. Sub 5 into the grass. And again, so we're like 16 seconds ahead of even the top end of human runs here, because we've built up a little bit of time from mashing perfectly compared to a human. Now we're going to go buy 2 Pokeballs. One of them is for a wild encounter we need to catch, and the second Pokeball is for bag space, because we actually need to have 3 items in our bag. Dude, that's awesome. I am really excited for you. I'm glad to see people coming into Yellow after the marathon. So this is a really fast encounter we've manipulated, and it's a really low-level Pidgey. It will die quickly to a critical from a level 8 Pidgey in the forest. So going back here, we have to deposit Pikachu as part of the glitch setup. And save, or not save, but set our waypoint at this Viridian Center by healing. Extended. Yeah, with Earphone 3, no less, for the hit the Pikachu deposit. So that's cool. Oh, we gotta do the old man cutscene still. And what we're gonna do, yeah, in the forest, we are grabbing a potion for our bag count. Like I was saying, with grabbing an extra Pokeball, we need to have a certain bag count. And then we are doing a trainer fly off the last trainer in the forest. So this here you'd actually see as a pretty normal time because we've already caught an encounter and done a center in Viridian that is kind of throwing off the expected time to this point compared to a normal yellow run. But here's where things are getting pretty crazy because we're not fighting a trainer, we are just barreling past everything using A presses to manipulate away encounters. Which is super annoying in the forest, by the way. The forest is horrible about encounters. There's huge stretches sometimes where you can avoid getting them, but often sometimes you just get stuck. And like you can't even manipulate one away, because you just keep trying to mash A, and all the A mashing still gets you an encounter. So obviously the level 8 Pidgey gets to go first, and it'll just crit Gust. Win the fight. And now we can do the Manip with soft reset. So we don't get the Nintendo screen. We have to walk specifically to this tile and flash the Pokedex for part of memory manipulation. And then I pause slightly there because it causes both those sprites to move the way we want. We want to get the girl to the top of the screen and the bird very far to the left of the screen. And then the pause there at the end is because we're waiting for the bird to move to the left. And it has to happen after we've stopped moving. So it's kind of difficult to set up in a TAS. Especially when the manip is not actually being found programmatically. It's a human-derived manip. You'll get to see a cool little moonwalk here after we grab the glitch item. I love that little dance the trainer does. That's the trainer fly Gatorism. So we did trainer fly in the forest, which means that something crazy will happen when you go back to the forest. Oftentimes people use it to like get missing no or me or the crazy stuff. But we use it to get a glitch item that is going to be very useful for underflow. So this is just task menuing. Yeah, TAS's menuing is amazing. Particularly the part where it has to toss a bunch of the glitch item that you get. That is glorious. One error. Do 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 do. I don't actually know if I'm singing along with it properly. Because I don't have the, what do you call it? I don't have monitor on. Wow, so that's like an 11:26 actually. Takes about 11:28 from selecting GBI in the menu. Yeah, dude, I love this run. This run is so cool, and it's gonna get even more cool when we improve it with TAS only manips.